Hey everyone, this is Louis7, and one of the first things you might notice is my setup is different today. I will talk about that in a moment, but the reason the stream is delayed, I did schedule it to be almost an hour ago. I have no idea what this button is, but the reason the stream is delayed is partially because I was changing my setup. I also did change some components in my computer, upgraded my CPU mainly, and also had to change the motherboard with that. So I'll talk about those things, but one thing I want to ask, because in the last stream I found out there were polls, and based on the face cam alone, what I am curious is if you all prefer the new or old setup. So I will make that poll real quick. There we go. But anyway, this is what it's going to look like. It's something I'm just testing out. When I upgraded my PC, I figured it was a good opportunity because this is something I've thought about doing for a few months now and finally did decide to do that when I upgraded the PC. Now I'm also getting used to the setup. Everything is flipped for me, so I'm probably going to be a little bit slow today. I also did see a few people in chat during those hours that we were supposed to be streaming, but I was being slow with it. And one of the big differences is my second monitor is now to my left instead of to my right. So usually when I'd read chat, I would be facing this way, and now I'm going to be facing this way. But just to highlight some things, I guess, while people maybe vote on that just so we can see, let's see what's the best way to do this. Maybe go the other way. I believe I can show this in more detail, but there's my cat tree. So we might actually have a cat cam now on this, and there's my squeaky chair, and that's basically a little bit of a mess behind me, unfortunately. But yeah, that is what is going on, and basically the reason I did this was to open things up. I felt like my old setup was a little bit too closed off while I like some of the parts of it. That is ultimately why I decided to try this out. If I don't like it, I can always go back. That is definitely always an option. Now, upgrade-wise, I'll talk about graphics and what exactly my new components are. Oh, I forgot to switch the scene. But there was something I wanted to do. First of all, I see Kin Chat, which it's okay that it's displaying light right now, but do prefer to turn that off usually. There we go. Hello, Maythorn. Yes, we don't think we have a cat right now, but we at least have a cat tree. I'm trying to remind myself what this character, since I have so many things going on, I also have no idea what this character needs to do. So before I go to Bree-land, I know I'm supposed to be adventuring to Bree-land. What I first wanted to do was complete the Ered Luin deeds. I don't think I have all that much left. I have Wolf Slayer and Hinderville Slayer, and then I also just have to discover a few places. So I was hoping today, and based on the scheduled start time, that I would definitely be able to go to Bree and do quite a bit of questing in Bree and settle in, but I'm honestly not too sure how far we'll get into Bree today. Hopefully can go, since we were doing the Old Forest with my kin group, hopefully can go to whatever that other place is that I'm thinking of. It eventually goes down to the south, I think, Andrath. It's not Adso's camp, but a few brigand-related quests just outside of West Bree. That is probably going to be where I go with this character. But yeah, the reasons I was delayed today, mainly just finishing getting things all the way set up, and I had to do some updates, apparently, on my PC. I got everything set up yesterday and tested everything, but then that all happened today before the stream, unfortunately. So one of the things I upgraded, I mentioned my CPU and motherboard. That's what I actually upgraded. So I have an i9-11900K CPU now. I spent a lot of time looking at potential options because it sounds like at least Intel is going to be going to a new system with DDR5 RAM. And I don't think the old CPUs and motherboards and the such will be compatible with that. So it sounds like they're trying to go into this new phase with the next generation of stuff. So I thought before that happens, especially considering with like GPU shortages and the such right now, that where am I going? I just want to make sure I know I'm just running around right now, but I want to make sure I'm going somewhere useful. I think I needed Hindraval Slayer. I don't need that many. I can probably get that knocked out real quick before we head too far south. I know the near Kellendim area, Ninhilith has a bunch of wolves. Well, let's see, what was I going on about? Yeah, so just looking at CPUs, this seemed to be the best option, basically, for what I wanted out of it. And considering my old CPU was an i7-7700K, it was getting a little bit old, and I think even less so with like LOTRO and gaming, I was running into issues with it a little bit. Now, one of the things, I see Salty Scrunt mentioned a Ryzen, one of the things with AMD is the single core clock speed. This seemed to be the best CPU for single core clock speed, which really helps with LOTRO. One of the things you might notice is the graphics might look better than they usually do, because I can, not only in an area like this, but I can get a lot better performance with higher graphics settings. And one of the weird things I've noticed, like one of the first things I've noticed, is somehow upgrading my CPU has increased the GPU usage in LOTRO, which doesn't make sense to me immediately, but yeah, now that I have a different CPU, suddenly LOTRO wants to utilize my GPU resources a little bit more, which I don't consider a bad thing. This happened before I even turned the graphics up. But yeah, I have so many things going on. I feel like I'm so scattered-brained right now. But yeah, with GPUs, I've still been trying to find either, I would be fine with an AMD or newer NVIDIA GPU. I still have a GTX 970, so still looking to upgrade that, if possible, eventually. And then I do have one more thing to point out. So with my old motherboard, I was having some issues with my RAM, and certain RAM slots and configurations seem to just randomly not work, even though individually each of my RAM chips, I had 4 of them, they each individually worked. It's just setting certain combinations with them did not work. I have, let's see, one set of 2 16GB chips, and then one set of 2 4GB or 8GB. Don't remember on that. It would be 2 8GB, so 16GB total on the 2. Let's see, we got Hindraval Slayer done, so Wolf Slayer. Good for me to at least have stuff to do while I'm trying to slowly talk about all the stuff that has changed. Also know my hair is a mess today as a random note, but that is totally off topic. I also can barely read chat. I might have to adjust my windows. I have all these things open. I have like Task Manager and HW Monitor open to just look at my things. I have been looking at mainly the CPU temperature, because from the little research I did, it sounds like the CPU can run quite hot, but I am using the same cooler I used to use. When I took the cooler off my i7, let's see. Yeah, when I took the cooler off the i7, all the thermal paste was like all messed up basically. So it actually looks like my temperatures are better than my old CPU on the new one with the same cooler. So that is good so far. Haven't gotten above 70 degrees Celsius. Maximum is actually 64 degrees Celsius right now. So an RX 5600, I really am not too familiar with how AMD has their stuff set up. Is that the GPUs? The problem is when I've looked at any of the GPUs, they've been quite expensive, like both AMD and NVIDIA. I just know I've had, as far as what I've had better luck, better performance, it seems like, with anything that is not AMD. I've only had an AMD CPU, which was like an FX 8350, which I don't want to say it was bad for everything, but upgrading when I did to the i7 7700K was a huge boost. So I think we are at the wolves now. Can at least kill some things instead of just travel the whole time. I still am on deadly difficulty. I've not dropped that down or increased it. I actually considered increasing it, which I might later. I know level 20 there's a big jump in like the corruptions and the such. I don't know if everything takes a big jump then. But these things are less than half my level, so it seems pretty reasonable even with the difficulty up just 3 tiers that I would do that. Yeah, I actually read a random article today about, I think, China and Germany, where a lot of people were doing the crypto mining on the GPUs, having some like restrictions. I don't remember exactly, but something about that where they couldn't really do that as well anymore. I don't know if I got credit for that, Wolf. And the prices were going down there. I don't know if that's something we could see an effect in the US, at least where I am, but I'm still trying to keep track on basically trying to get anything at a reasonable price, of course. That's the big thing. So RX 5600 was $300. See, that is a very reasonable price for me to upgrade my GPU. I just know it's getting, or has gotten, quite a few years old and looking to improve my performance. I will say about performance in LOTRO, I noticed a significant upgrade in the update 30 zone, which was getting really laggy, unfortunately, on my system. The GPU usage, that was one of the things that still wasn't that high with my old setup, but that was where I noticed a big difference. I actually went to like 100% GPU usage in LOTRO, which is really odd. That used to only happen on the loading screen, but somehow, again, changing my CPU let my GPU usage go way up. And yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. Maybe there's a reason for that, but it doesn't make sense. I actually did look into the AMD CPUs. I'm kind of just remembering this, but I remember they were really expensive, was the problem. One problem of them. Also, again, for LOTRO, the main game I play, single core performance is the most important, it seems. At least as far as I understand. So I think I can track the Wolf Slayer so we don't just run around. Seems like actually they're level 16 as well, a little bit higher than me. And they have a bunch of XP boosts, so I'm guessing they're also similarly working on the Slayer deed. Hopefully that hit count. Hopefully they can get credit and don't mind somebody else hitting everything. That was one concern about heading to Ninhill to get this last deed done, is that there would be tons of people looking to do regular quests. And especially as a Guardian, I, for the most part, have to actually run up to the mobs. I'll let somebody else hit that wolf if they want. Oddly, for my CPU, Amazon was cheaper than anywhere else. Even Newegg was randomly more expensive on the CPU. I think the motherboard was also more expensive on Newegg. Which the motherboard, I got some Asus motherboard. Which for me, the big thing on that is it actually has a lot of USB ports, which I like because, especially streaming, I just have so many things connected at once. And I actually right now don't even have everything that I usually have connected. I'm going like bare bones setup as far as connections right now. But one thing I noticed, you all probably don't see this. I have an arrow right here at the bottom right. I have no idea what that does. Is it a fan controller? It says standard, turbo, and can't even see that one. I think it's something for fans, and I have no idea why it's popping up. Probably something. I did go with the motherboard. It wasn't quite the tough one, the tough gaming one, is actually, I have the box right there. Prime Z590A. That is the one I have. But with it came some software, and now I have this thing that I can exit. Okay. But yeah, with the fan control, there's a lot of different things. Okay, I'll join that group. There we go. A lot of people here. Definitely happy to fellowship up, although everybody will take. I don't know who has the highest difficulty here, but everybody will take. Whoever has the highest. The deadly blur effect is supposed to leave when the eye goes off, but there's also this bug where the eye is not actually going off. And yes, Lancia, I think that Treebeard is fun. Right now I'm not doing very Treebeardy things, yet at the same time I kind of am. But just getting my Slayer deed finished gives a little bit of XP. Not that much at this point, but getting the Wolf Slayer deed finished and wrapping up the Ered Luin deeds before I do move on. Looks like the CPU temps are still good. Also, I see it's really hard to see the poll. I'll go ahead and end it since it's been 15 minutes, but to go on about my setup, which, how do I end that? I need to increase the size of the window. There we go. I figured people would actually prefer the old setup just because I had the Middle Earth map and all the such in the back. But right now I just have my bedroom barely visible on that side where it's all dark, and then the cat tree on that side. So far I do like this setup for my preference. Again, feeling more open. Okay, so I still need, wow. I still need quite a few wolves. I feel like deeds like this feel grindier when you are overleveled like I am. Even though it goes by quicker, you can kill things quicker, it oddly, to me, always feels more grindy. Temps outside are 111 degrees Fahrenheit. That is quite hot. Fortunately, where I am, it is not that hot. It was a really nice end of the week temperature-wise. I think they are going to disable it. That is, as far as I know, the plan. I don't know exactly when that update will come. Hopefully next week, because it is quite annoying. And having the eye over your head, even when it's not supposed to be, like I have no debuff right now, nothing. No reason for me to actually have the eye over my head so it doesn't go away. That part is weird. And that part definitely annoys me. The blur effect I'm kind of indifferent towards, but it is more annoying than not annoying, so I definitely prefer it to be gone, I guess. Maybe I'm not that indifferent. The temps of my CPU, the maximum it's gotten is 149 degrees Fahrenheit. Hello, Brandon Joyce. I kind of do recognize that it's been a while since you caught a stream. Glad you could catch one. You also caught one when I have a new setup and no longer have a wall and Middle Earth map behind me. All I did was basically flip my desk. I was hoping to be able to show you all a little bit of that, but with all the mess of actually getting the stream started and all the such, did not quite get to that. Let's see, just need 9 more wolves and we'll get the Slayer D done. Hey Leonardo Duarte, I think you were here before the stream started while I was having all those issues with the stream being delayed. There was a cat, but I don't think they were visible. Yeah, John, I think I could definitely go up on the difficulty. Of course, right now with 4 people in the group and us killing like level 7 wolves when I am over leveled and relatively strong for a level 13 guardian armor wise. I have the level 7 armor set at least. This is, of course, easy, was the point of whatever I said. But yeah, when I go to Bree-land, that's when I could consider actually turning the difficulty up. I don't know if I would exactly want to. I guess it's a decision based on if things are taking too slow to, I don't know, too challenging, but things are just moving along too slow and I feel like I'm progressing too slow when I don't really get increased rewards for going to higher deadly tiers. But then if things are too easy, that's when I would definitely consider doing it. But so far in my experience, especially when we get to signatures, that's when things get really bad, it seems like. Getting to signatures and the such is where I feel like the difficulty really kicks in. And I also hope the audio is okay today, because with the new setup, my microphone is on the opposite side of me than it usually is, but so is everything else. So like my second monitor is on my left, but so is my microphone now. Both of those used to be to my right, and along with the microphone, it's just, can't be sure it's in the same relative positioning to my face. Actually, I think it's a little bit different because of size constraints, how long the mic arm can actually stretch. But I tried to do as good as I could with that. And that is the last thing I was getting set up today. Oh, I think I'm done. I think they can handle it without me here. Okay, so sound is perfect. Thank you for the information there, nerd. And then Leonardo, you're asking about high elf being best for sword or spear. I also do like playing with spear, but you do lose that 5% damage trait. Now, in reality, it's actually not 5% damage with all things considered. I think the actual benefit you get is 1 to 2% maybe. I think it depends on class and even the exact skill you use and your traits and the such, and how the calculations are done in LOTRO, but yeah, I think it's somewhere closer to 1 to 2% damage. So perhaps having that in mind, you could feel a little bit better about equipping a spear instead of a sword, because that is exactly what I do on my wardens, because I also prefer a spear. So yeah, that's what I do. And then the eye over my head, that is because I have the difficulty turned up on the server. The 2 legendary servers, if you're familiar. Oh, we're back. I did not know I was back this whole time. So I actually had a blue screen of death there. Very exciting thing to happen with a new setup. So yeah, I will try to get back in the game now, and hopefully that does not happen again. Treebeard. I have no idea how long I was back for. I could have. I don't know why. I could have checked chat on my phone and actually told you all what happened, but I just thought of that now that I was back in looking at the chat from earlier. I think we were talking about Warden, which I am not playing right now. Oh yeah, there's the spear versus shield. And then... yeah. But back on the Guardian, I don't know why I had blue screen of death there. That was not good. I don't know how to look at really read the event viewer. Let's see, we're going fine. Administrative events. I don't even know if that's a good thing to look at. There's also like Windows logs for systems. I thought something with that you could look at, but I do not know. Everything was fine. And then I had an error that the previous system shut down was unexpected. Anyway, yes, I have a new CPU and new motherboard. I'm guessing something with that. I don't remember if I talked about this all the way. Maybe there is a potential issue with my RAM. I did a memory test, and that came back fine. I did not have issues before this. This is the first thing, I guess, that's really stressed my system. I did get on LOTRO and did some light editing, which uses CPU and the such, and have not had issues. I played for maybe, well, I was like logged in for maybe half an hour, maybe was actively at the game for 10 to 15 minutes looking at the graphics and performance and the such in LOTRO, but
what can I do?
What am I doing with this character? I think I need to go north so I can at least go somewhere while I talk. Hopefully, I'm very paranoid that I will be crashing again, so hopefully that does not happen. We are doing Ered Luin, that is right. Explore, I need to explore the dwarves. Explore the places of the dwarves. I feel like Thorin's Gate would be a good place to start with that. I did finish the new raid. I have done that 2 or 3 times now, don't remember. I think twice. So the new CPU is i9-11900K and the motherboard is Asus Prime Z590A. It ends in an A. Playing Guardian on Treebeard is something I'm excited for.
Greetings.
Kill things a little bit too fast regularly. It looks like we have some people on the kin. So I need to explore places, but I'm really concerned about that B-sod. So about the RAM, I guess that's one of the things. Is I had issues with my RAM on the old motherboard. I think I talked about this. Individually, each RAM chip seemed to work. Did not do a Windows and GPU update. I actually did a GPU driver update somewhat recently, but I have not looked at that quite yet, or a Windows update. Windows, there were some weird things. I will say there were some weird things going on with Windows and my motherboard. For some reason, my motherboard goes basically straight to the BIOS. I have to go to the BIOS and then I have to boot manually. And the only device that's set to boot is the drive I have Windows on, my solid state drive, and it just doesn't do that. So that's one of the things I was actually looking into earlier today that I kind of forgot about. But that is something it does. Okay, so I am exploring places, that is right. We need the Silver Deep Mine in Nogland, which Nogland is down to the south there. Silver Deep Mines, if I remember correctly, that's the one in the northeast-ish area up here. So I'll head that way. And I believe that should finish everything with Ered Luin, and then I will start heading to Bree, but yeah, perhaps an issue with the RAM is that there actually is an issue with the RAM. I think I mentioned I did a memory test though, because I know I had the issues with at least the old motherboard. And perhaps I do have 2 different brands of RAM. I had 2 older 8GB. Yeah, the boot order is actually set. It only has that device in the boot order. That is the only one listed in the boot order. Did this actually discover it? It did. I did not even have to find the entrance, which is somewhere thereabouts. Okay. Glad I still remember where the Silver Deep Mines are. And for some reason, by default, I have another solid state drive. It's an M2. It's a small one, like 256 gigabytes, that's in the M2 slot, which for some reason, by default, that is the only one it recognizes a bootable device. It did not even... I had to change some setting. It was like, I have no idea what it is, like UETI or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I had to change some setting for it to recognize, I guess, that format of... I have no idea what I'm talking about, but that format of something, I had to change something for it to actually recognize all my other drives as being like bootable options to even put there. So I did that, and now it's only my SSD, and it always makes me go to the BIOS before I can start. So yeah, I was looking at that a little bit earlier. CPU temperatures are still good. That was a cause of concern, but I still don't think I ever went above 70 degrees Celsius, and still have not, at least right now. Ooh, I can mine this thing. Randomly traveling and find the copper ore node. Okay, heading southeast. I should follow the road. I think you can even take a stable master path, but I guess I'm up for exploring today. Here my fan's going a little bit fast, but again, temperatures all look normal to me right now. All I have up right now are, yeah, 2 Chrome tabs, LOTRO, OBS, and HW monitor. I did reapply thermal paste. I did that at the start. I did not initially to my old CPU. I did not. Somebody else did the thermal paste. But this one I did. I watched a video and did a lot of research on that. Did one little pea size drop, made sure to not spread it myself, and did that. Again, the temperatures right now are all fine. We actually did get to 71 degrees Celsius, but they seem fine to me. My old CPU apparently was going up in the 90s, which is kind of scary, but I did not know that until I actually started, when I was looking for the new CPU. Going through that process, I decided to just look at what my current CPU temperature was running at and performance and all that with HW monitor, and it was going up to the 90s occasionally, which was a little bit scary. As far as I know, that's a little bit high for a CPU, at least to regularly be at. I don't know. I don't remember if it was regularly there, like constantly, but yeah, what else? Idle temperatures were like 20s, 30s, I think. Somewhere around there, maybe 40s, but I don't think it was that high. I think 30s. I think, yeah, 30s is what it was, idle. Uh-oh, that's not good. Am I still going? I think I am. Okay. That was really scary. I don't know what happened, but I actually thought I just crashed. Alright, so I think I'm back this time, and hopefully, I think this time I actually did catch OBS opening and restarting, but I didn't just reinsert. Shaniro, I just read your text, and I forgot about looking at chat on mobile. This time I was busy, I will say that. At least this time I was busy doing things. So I took the 2 RAM chips out instead of just reseating them. This BSOD gave me information this time, actually. Let me see what it said. I took a picture of it. That is not it. I think I took a picture of it. Attempted to write to read-only memory. That gave me the hint that it might be the RAM. Okay, I think LOTRO is coming back up. I don't know if it's the best idea to immediately boot into a game and try streaming again when I'm having this issue, but figure it's better than nothing, maybe? At least we got Ered Luin done, I think. Didn't I start heading to Bree or something? I think when yeah, the issue with the RAM, I had an issue with my old setup and RAM, and the thing that was really weird is individually each stick of RAM worked. But if I started combining them, even of the same brand, if I started combining them and using specific slots, it started to not work. I didn't really narrow down exactly which slots worked, which slots didn't, which pieces worked with each other and which didn't, but right now I have two of the same brand, and they are both 16 gigabyte. So I'm back down. I was really excited to actually be able to use. Everything about this setup feels weird to me because my hair is normal, but for some reason my hair just looks weird today with the setup, maybe with the background. Anyway, let's go ahead and get on LOTRO again. And since it has been a few minutes, I want to see how it works this time. I don't think I changed anything this time. The last few B-Sods I have made some small adjustments. I guess that's a problem with this being the first real stress, even though I have logged into LOTRO before, this being the first real stress with the new system. I didn't really do an extended play session, I just like briefly logged into the game. Well, let's see. Right now, again, my temperatures, actually my voltages on the CPU are lower than I thought. Going up, not quite to 1.5 yet. Anyway, I think as far as what I can do in the game is just continue traveling. I think I'm trying to make it somewhere where I can go to Bree-land because we finished Ered Luin. I have no idea how long the stream has been going, like, I guess I've been going at it for an hour or so. I don't know how many minutes of this hour has been actually streamed, and when this comes to a video, it'll probably be all weird and like randomly cutting in and out to me crashing and then like instantly being back, as far as how I know the stream works on YouTube at least. Thorin's Gate. Yeah, I think Thorin's Gate would actually be kind of efficient. So we'll go to Thorin's Gate, and then I will going down to Gondomon to go up to Thorin's Gate to go down to Kellendom to go to West Bree. But I might just be able to go Thorin's Gate to West Bree. That would be more efficient. Anyway, if I do have more issues, I might just have to end the stream. I had about an hour left that I could comfortably stream anyway, so if I keep running into issues, I'll give it this one more attempt. If I keep running into issues, I might just have to wrap the stream up. Kind of unfortunate that I was excited to have upgraded components, and I think it'll be a little bit helpful, and actually decently helpful with LOTRO performance. And some of the one newer zone I did test this in was Azenobalzar. Got surprisingly big performance boost just for upgrading my CPU. Let's see, what was I going on about? But as far as other things, I think like editing and the such, I've already noticed with the minor amount of it I have done performance boost. So yeah, with all that stuff, all the positive, there are some issues it seems like with crashing and blue screens of death, unfortunately. Two of them have mentioned memory. The other ones have been like very, I guess, general, non-descriptive B-Sods. The two that had memory issues just said attempted to write to read-only memory, and then the other ones were system service exception, which didn't really tell me anything. The only thing I guess with the memory is it potentially means it's a RAM issue, so I took two of my RAM sticks out. Still happened with those two. Yeah, reset Windows would probably be one of my next steps. I don't know if it's possible to change the drive that Windows is on without like completely reinstalling and getting like a new Windows edition, but I honestly don't even know how that works. But I think if possible, I actually wouldn't mind moving Windows to my M2 SSD. Right now it's just a regular solid state drive. I think it could be preferable, partially because of space, to move it to the M2, which is twice as large as my regular SSD. The regular one I have was at the time I got my desktop as a pre-built. Right now I've changed. I guess the main components I've changed over time I've gone through. I've had 2 previous CPUs and 2 previous motherboards. And of course CPU cooler changed. Kept the same CPU cooler this time. But those are the main things that have changed. Everything else I've just gathered over time and just chucked in there, so to speak. But yeah, I'd have to look into the possibility of that. I didn't even know there was a hotspot on the... I was looking at HW monitor, just looking at all my other temperatures. I did not even know there was a hotspot on the GPU. I guess my normal temperature I go by is just the regular GPU temp, which I think under heavy load gets to about 80 degrees Celsius maximum. I don't see anything just right now out of ordinary with any of the other temperatures. I will say when I took the RAM stick out, it was hot to touch. But even at these cool temperatures of like 40 degrees Celsius, that would be a little bit warm to touch, I think. Might as well get my subscriber town services and do something useful in the game instead of just like staring at my HW monitor screen. What do I have here? A legacy tier upgrade? That must be from a Hobbit gift or something. Is there anything I can... Let's go ahead and use that Virtue XP. I think there's a Virtue XP. Yes, hot to touch. The RAM 6, the 2 I took out were a little bit warm to touch. Lock some stuff. But yeah, I was looking, just because of that, I thought about looking at my RAM temperature, but I don't directly see that on... I don't even know if RAM temperature can ever be an issue. Has a few temperature sensors, CPU sensor, and mainboard, motherboard sensor. And then all the temperatures of the CPU cores. And then temperatures of all my different drives. Whatever this one is like, they're all below 40 degrees Celsius. One of them is actually 44 degrees Celsius. My M2 is 51 maximum that it's gotten to. And then my GPU has been up to 68 degrees Celsius. Right now it's 58. So yeah, all these temperatures that I can read, they seem normal to me. I don't want to spend again the whole time I'm actually able to stream without being all crashed, just reading that off. So yeah, I'll get going with locking things. I basically want to save everything that is crafting related. Even a lot of armor related stuff would be nice, but I think a lot of these I tried to give away and nobody was interested in, so I'll go ahead and just sell those and move on to West Bree. So new RAM and Windows reset. I will try Windows reset at first, and then maybe new RAM. And yeah, I figured this would be a good thing to jump right in. While it might honestly suck from a viewer perspective, I hope it doesn't. I thought this would be a good thing to jump in because it's like what I normally do. It's probably the most stressful thing I do is play LOTRO and stream it. Stressful to my PC, that is. Actually, I would say rendering videos. That even gets a tiny bit GPU intensive. I think there's a specific like part of the GPU that it utilizes, like video decode. It might be video encode even. But that really utilizes the CPU a lot. But yeah, in my first test of this, just lightly playing LOTRO for a while, and being in the game for maybe half an hour to an hour, had no issues with that. And since I see there are still a decent number of viewers even with all the issues, I do appreciate anybody who is sticking around to watch me go through these issues and hardly even play the game. I don't think that does much. Okay, let me think, what does this character want to do Bree-wise? First, I might as well discover South Bree. But what I was thinking is, because, again, we are doing the Old Forest and then moving to the Barrow Downs with my kinship group, which should be going this Wednesday, hopefully. By then, everything will work on my PC. I will do the brigand stuff for this character. So the stuff, I always want to call it Adso's Camp, but it's this little guy just south of Thornley's worksite, just west of Bree, that eventually goes to Andrat. I think I will go ahead and do all that stuff. Let's travel to West Bree. And yeah, I guess for anybody that is maybe joining or a little bit newer to the stream, have had a lot of PC issues and crashes, so if I randomly disappear, that is probably why. I might give it one more try. If I do end up crashing again, maybe I'll give it one more try. I mentioned the voltages on my CPU. I thought earlier, I don't remember, I guess it would have been earlier today, I thought I saw the voltages around 1.6 volts, which, as I mentioned, based on what I have looked up, that seems to be really high, but right now it's sticking below 1.5. The peaks are around 1.49. As far as performance, though, in LOTRO, besides the blue screens of death, the B-sods, and crashes, I really do like the performance, though. Of course, in an older area like this, I'd have pretty decent performance anyway, but I will say that is one thing that's nice. And as I mentioned earlier, randomly my GPU usage, my GPU is somehow being utilized more by changing my motherboard and CPU. And I have no idea why. Okay, get these quests. I do have to pay attention. I'm only level 13, and we are on deadly difficulty. This isn't going to be as easy as killing the wolves earlier. I hear my fans going up. Of course, to keep the system cool, but I think there's also another thinking about RAM, there's another test I think I can do, another diagnostic test I can do that is directly from the BIOS for memory. I don't know how different it is than Windows memory test, but there's something different I can do. I think that is something that, based on the last memory test, would take, I don't remember how long it took, but like half an hour or something.
Would you do something for me?
So that is probably something I would not want to do. I'd want to just wrap up the stream. Which, by the way, I don't think I've quite mentioned this, all the distractions and scatterbrain going on with everything going on. I do want to thank everybody for their support, watching videos, and all my channel members and such, because that is essentially how I was able to get these upgrades in the first place, which are causing all these issues. But should be better performance. I've done a lot of different things. I've been having a lot of slowdowns with editing. Sometimes it's just because I'm not in the mood to edit, but that is something that I can't really fix. But things I can fix is when it takes me like 5 minutes to go through 10 seconds of a video in Premiere Pro, which is a little bit of an exaggeration maybe. But I have been doing a lot of things and have improved the performance in that program and other things, but upgrading the actual hardware. So a better CPU can help make more use of the GPU. That is good to know. I don't see why my old CPU would have been bad for my GPU considering it was newer. I had an i7-7700 and I still have the GTX 970. Of course, I'd still like to upgrade the GPU. But yeah, those things served me fairly well for quite a few years, I will say. I just thought it would be a good time, based on prices being relatively low for the CPUs, based on my research and looking at different things in the past, that I would go ahead and do that. Camp as I am doing relatively good, The relative part is because my PC is struggling a little bit with the new hardware. I have a new motherboard and CPU, but they are, now that I'm actually streaming, having some issues. I honestly cannot believe I have lasted this long, and for anybody that's superstitious, I will go ahead and knock on wood there.
What can I do for you?
But yeah, I don't know exactly how long I've been back for, what is this, the third or fourth time?
Why are you bothering?
At least I can say the thumbnail and title of this video are accurate now that I have actually adventured to Bree-land. That was a little bit of a concern that I actually wouldn't get to Bree-land. Alright, so we need some boars. I remember this quest can be tough just because the boars are high level. It's like the quest itself is level 14, but these boars, okay, they're a little bit lower level than I thought, to be honest. For some reason I thought these were like level 17, 18 boars. Yes, hopefully it doesn't. Again, everything right now looking fine. Again, temperatures not above 70 degrees Celsius. The maximum is 69 degrees Celsius on one of the cores. One of the maximums only 52 degrees. Oh, have to pay attention to combat. Actually, that boar died pretty quickly. I forgot I was supposed to pay attention because I'm on deadly difficulty, but still getting good Guardian damage, and the Guardian damage was buffed in Update 30. I know playing on regular difficulty, Guardians killed things fast. I think the peak of Guardian performance was around level 30. So yeah, I'm not too familiar, perhaps obviously, about how all that stuff technically works. There's a dwarf. A Forio, that sounds like... There's somebody similar, they might even be in the same kin, on Anor that was a runekeeper, somewhat similar name. Might as well get a hit in. I don't know if they're on that much difficulty or just doing a lot of damage, or they're high level. Yeah, I think they're high level. For the Argentina game. Uh-oh. Okay, there is a chance, if I am still going, there is a chance I might just crash. So, there is some warning. Chrome did something weird, and last time something weird, it was like 20 seconds later. But let's just hope that doesn't happen. But, yeah. One more trinket. We'll focus on the game right now, while looking at my other screen. Okay. Moving northwest. I hope you all can hear the game. I realize I cannot hear the game. Yeah, RAM feels like it could be an issue. RAM sticks and just put them in different slots. So hopefully that might fix some of the issues. Don't know if it will, but hopefully it will, and I can stream about, I would say I have about half an hour that I would like to get wrapped up with this, and then hopefully I can last the full half hour though. And once again, I do want to thank everybody that has stuck around for being patient with all these issues. I know it's super exciting. I think I was talking about this actually earlier. It's super exciting to have all these PC upgrades with the motherboard and RAM and performance improvements and the such, but then the issues I'm having right now are not that great. It's always something that's a concern. I figured this would be a good test because as far as I know, editing, I will say, but more so rendering videos can be quite intensive on my CPU in particular, but even the GPU a little bit. But this is the most regular activity that I do on my PC, and I don't think it's a great thing, of course, that I'm running into issues. I do want to get the evidence right here. I don't think I have VSync enabled as... Wait, that is a different thing, I think. If you're talking about VSync and LOTRO, I have sync to refresh rate, which I think is the same as VSync, as far as I know. Unless you're talking about, at first I thought it was like the NVIDIA G-Sync or something like that that I'm not too familiar with. That's the first thing that came to my mind, but if you are talking about the one I just showed, I do have that enabled. But the next step, if I do happen to run into issues, which, as unfortunate as it is for me to have this outlook, I think that is fairly likely, it seems like,
What can I do for you?
I will
Might I take a moment of your time?
probably reset Windows and maybe try to somehow do that to a different drive if possible. I will back everything up, both on the one with Windows and the one without, because I have plenty of hard disk drives. I have like 3. I think I have 5 total, which would mean, yeah, 3 extra-ish. So I will do all that. I've done a bit of troubleshooting, what I can do while trying to also stream LOTRO and have that. I think somebody's already on this escort, if I had to guess. There's also a hunter here who is probably looking to do it. Maybe we can group up. Guessing he's... I could actually see this quest being quite tough if you do have high difficulty. I don't know what they have, I just see they have the difficulty turned up deadly. That seems to be the most common, and it makes sense to me. Deadly seems to be a pretty good difficulty level. Well, might as well kill some boars while waiting. Oh, there's a mining node. I could actually use that, but Hunter can have it. So AJ Man, you said your system has to have it enabled. I guess if you don't, you will crash the desktop or completely restart. That's a bit odd. By the way, Christian, your question reminds me, to anybody who has asked questions throughout this stream, I think I have missed a few, and with all the issues...
I don't know anything, I'm sure.
Hopefully he got it. I don't know if there's a way to tell, make sure he got it. With all the issues, I do apologize for anything I have missed. About starting on a legendary server or jumping into a current server, I'd say there's a few benefits of the legendary server. One is the lower level cap. We'll see if they got credit. I think they did. I'll go ahead and run off, but I think they got credit by the check mark there. So don't want to cancel the quest. I'll leave the fellowship though. But anyway, a benefit at that is the lower level cap, so I guess a lot less intimidating as far as getting caught up and doing some form of group content. Also, while the population might be a little bit lower, I don't know if it exactly is lower right now. It's actually a little bit similar looking to Arkenstone, which as far as I know is one of the more populated servers. I don't know if it's still would be called the most populated server, but the amount of players you will randomly run into is much higher if you do like running into people. So those are some of the benefits. Also, if you do want to run group content, if you want to run like the level 50 group content, everybody will be running that, compared to it being very hard to find on-level groups for things like that. So there's those benefits. That is a good name for the bear, Chunks, because he did look a little bit big. Not big in a bad way, but like big in a bear way. I think we have to wait for respawns. And this is something you can run into normal MMO stuff where you actually have somebody else clear out a camp and you have to wait. Actually consider that an enjoyable thing to see. Oh, one note with the air conditioner kicking on, that might be a little bit louder because now my microphone is pointed a little bit more so towards the AC, which I don't think is caught on the camera. It's like right behind the wall between my window and room right there. But anyway, the air conditioner might be slightly louder is one bad thing. I can say about the setup. Another, I guess, little bit of a bad thing is the window is to my side and behind me instead of to my side and in front of me like it used to be. And yeah, Christian, sorry for the scattered thoughts on that. Again, with all the stuff going on right now, I feel like I'm not doing that great at answering the question. But one thing with the current server, I will say a benefit of that is you will have all the content available to you. You, of course, still have to purchase all this stuff, but there is that, especially if you want to not be locked into the pace of the Legendary server. And one issue that could happen, and concern I do have for the Legendary servers, is the same thing will happen that happened to Nor and Ithil, and that is the player counts will die down as we get more and more updates, more and more content unlocks on these servers. I think one reason is, and this would be true for myself, is the content just gets a lot less interesting for me personally after level 75, but I know some people who don't even like sticking around. Or, let's see, the best way to put this is, I know of some people who might not even want to stick around for Moria. They might just be interested in doing the Angmar stuff. They might just be interested in doing some low-level leveling, Eriador. Some people might just like Mirkwood, Siege of Mirkwood content, and then stopping. Some might go through Moria and then not do Siege of Mirkwood. And then after that, it seems like a big one that people don't like would be Rohan. I could be slightly biased on thinking that, or I just see that opinion a lot because it matches mine. But there is the potential that population, just like Anor and especially Ithil was already low, but both of those populations have died down quite a bit since the busier expansions in earlier eras, so you might run into the issue where player counts dwindle quite a bit over time, and then you're kind of locked into these servers with not many players. That is, as far as like long-term progression on these servers, my biggest concern. And I know for myself, because I'll probably become less interested in them with Rohan, that I will probably stop playing them as much at that point. Okay, stream is still working. Hello to Daniel. And once again, as a reminder, I see the viewers going up again. I've had a lot of PC issues today. Upgraded hardware, CPU and motherboard, and had some crashes, which mean the stream has essentially been paused as it works on YouTube. This will all be one long video still, like normal streams are, but there will be a lot of talking about issues, and I hope the video experience, since I know I can look at my views and all this such on YouTube, views usually go quite a bit up. Still, people still watch streams after they become into a regular video. Hopefully from that perspective, this is an okay video. That's something I always keep in mind with my YouTube streams, is that they will become videos for people to watch, sort of like Let's Play videos. I, of course, talk about very random and different things. I do not need Will, that is for sure. Get rid of that Will bracelet. Bracers are a totally different thing. They're an actual thing in a different game. Okay, what are we doing? I don't know. I'd like to finish this quest. Ideally, I will finish this quest, and that'll be a good amount of settling into Bree for me. So we're starting to deal with some deadly brigands, which I'm guessing, that's actually a good name, I think, for the next stream, next Treebeard episode. Currently we're on part 4. I don't know if it's useful to you viewers for me to keep track of the parts, so I'm titling all these videos just so people know I'm playing on the Treebeard server, like Treebeard LS being short for Legendary server, and then I do part 1, part 2, part etc. So there's a sense of progression. That's what's beneficial from my viewpoint, sense of progression there. And then also, if people are interested in a Let's Play sort of thing in order, there is that. But at the same time, I'm also playing 2 different characters. So it's like I have 2 different characters progressing the same series, which is a little bit weird. So I don't know if it's helpful, but if anybody has comment on that, it would be appreciated, because that is essentially, besides just for my own sense of organization in my head, essentially there for you all. Or if people even notice that, because it's at the very end of the title. Might not even display or anything as far as I know. Yeah, 2 mobs at once. It's making me pay attention when I get 2 of them. The issues I ran into while lower level was when I got a signature in a normal mob or a signature in 2 normal mobs. Really enjoying my new setup right now. It's like a very random thing. I mentioned that this was something I thought about doing for a few months, but I didn't really have anything to motivate me to actually get that started, I guess, until I did upgrade my PC, which, speaking of upgrading the hardware, talking about issues with a PC, my back fan was full of tons of dust. Visually, whenever I looked in it, I did not see that much dust. Otherwise, I would have dusted it. But that is another thing. I know it had been a long time, and there's just a lot more piled up inside. I think it's a radiator that's connected, something like that. I don't know if it's actually a radiator, if that's the proper thing to call it, but let's kill this oat bearer. The main point in killing this thing, like many things in LOTRO, is for fun. It doesn't give me anything useful as far as I know. It doesn't even have increased drop rate of anything. He is for a class quest. That is his purpose for being here. Besides just an interesting enemy, a random signature brigand. I think that would be enough reason to have him on its own. It's nice to have one tool. I actually do have the sprint ability. While I can't do much damage while doing that, and a little bit hard to do real kiting, that is something I actually do have now. It is really nice with this increased difficulty getting more and more tools. It makes me more and more interested in turning the difficulty up or challenging myself. Like, I have all these things about, I guess the number of targets I can comfortably take on is limited. Dealing with signatures and regular mobs at the same time can be a bit tough. Dealing with elites is very tough for this character. I don't have crowd control right now. My defenses aren't all that high. Of course, I'm in DPS spec. That's why I think, as a random tangential note, is I feel like Runekeeper and Hunter, Yellow Runekeeper in particular, is one of the better classes with the high difficulty because you can just crowd control everything. Lore Master could also be good, but actually, note on Lore Masters, maybe, I don't know if their pets properly scale yet. I know that was an issue in the beta. I don't know if they actually fixed that or if Lore Masters are OP because of their pets, but I got a little bit sidetracked. I tried not to. I knew when I was going into that I would forget what I was originally talking about, so I tried not to go too much into that. Let's see, difficulty. Oh yeah, Guardian. I could always switch to tank spec, perhaps handle things a little bit better. But if things get easier, that means I have the opportunity to challenge myself with the content a little bit more and pull more mobs, all that type of stuff. Ooh, I got a fancy hat. Cowl of the Shire, level 15. I actually think I have a similar hat that is level 10, but somehow better than the level 15 one. We do have to do an escort. This is a little bit scary, but I don't think there's all that much bad that I immediately remember from the escort, but who knows, with the difficulty up, I might learn something that's actually quite difficult about it. I cannot hear anything. I hope OBS is, I don't think I have any other audio that could be playing on my PC. Hopefully I'm not echoing. That would be the bad thing. Okay, I don't see Chrome playing audio at all. But yeah, whatever audio stuff has been going on, I cannot actually hear the game right now. Oh, that is bad. This character has died, so I'm a little bit more comfortable with me potentially dying. Didn't mean to die there, but I'm a little bit more comfortable with it. Just because this character has unfortunately died. It's not like I'm going to try to die in the future, but I am relatively okay with me getting killed right there. That is a really strong, there's a Lore Master. As long as this NPC doesn't get killed, I'll go ahead and enjoy a meal. Just watch her and get beat up by a few brigands. Alright. Yep, now it's time. Oh, I let that get really close. I was going to let her take as much damage as it seemed would be safe for her to live, but I did not mean for it to get that close. Now I have to deal with these three brigands. I gotta try it out. Oh, I missed that. That would have been a really good skill to get off. The one that was available. It does a lot of damage. Okay, let's get this guy. The other one should just be chasing me this whole time. Okay, let's use one of these potions. Hopefully a mob doesn't spawn or respawn and just kill her. That would be quite bad. Yeah, I thought that was the last wave, and fortunately I remembered correctly. And yeah, she is not Sarah Oakhart, so that is okay. Running into a lot of people, this is exactly what I was talking about with... I just enjoy so much running into people on these servers. With 130 levels and most people, I would say that the highest portion of concentration, I feel like this is a very bad sentence, but if it makes sense to y'all, the highest portion of concentration of characters, I would say, is at level 130 on most of the other servers, at least, and in my experience on Arkenstone, at least the one server I have played on regularly. So you essentially run into a lot fewer people at the lower levels, medium levels, and all the such. And it seems like right now there are still quite a few people working on leveling. There are still... I don't even know if most people are, or not even if most people, but if there's even a good chunk of people that are at the level cap, which is 50 right now. If we go to 45, there is a good amount of people level 50. After all this time, I would say that that is definitely seems reasonable that more people would be 50. Personally, I am obviously going a lot slower. My Runekeeper, I think, is level 15. This character is level 14. I haven't gotten quite as much playtime as I would ideally have on these servers, but that is what I was trying to hope to help today, was the playtime. And I feel like I've made, considering all the stuff going on, I feel like I've made quite a bit of progress today. One thing with the setup, I like it, but I just feel weird how open it is behind me, which is okay. All I have really is my cat tree, and again, I'll look into my bedroom, which is a little bit messy right now, unfortunately. With all the moving and getting things set up, I have a lot of stuff pushed off to the side and need to decide exactly where I'm going to put it, and is a little bit messier than would be ideal. Also, just because of the way I had my bedroom, never really cared about that corner. I have like a cat food bag and all their stuff, and I think even my vacuum cleaner is like right there. And ideally, with it being a backdrop now for a stream, I will put something else there and try to rearrange stuff, but that is something that is on my mind, I will admit, with this. So let's try to get to Andrath. I don't know that I'll do Andrath. I think it's a good point. It's getting around 6 o'clock for me. Good point for me to wrap things up. And yeah, hopefully I can wrap things up. So let's talk about future content. Assuming PC issues get fixed, I will stream tomorrow. Maybe I'll do Treebeard again tomorrow. I was thinking about getting back to Final Fantasy XIV. I do want to get back to that game at a point, but because I don't know, I feel like I had a good amount of playtime today, but ideally get a little bit more playtime on the server. I just want to continue killing brigands in Bree, to be honest. So maybe do that tomorrow, ideally. And in the meantime, I will reset Windows. I will look into other diagnostic type things I can look at, and Just see with the PC, but hopefully the upgrades, again, motherboard and CPU to an i9-11900K. I think it's a K one. Yeah, it's the unlocked one. Not that I plan to overclock it, but that's just... I don't know why, but that was the cheapest of the CPUs. And for single core performance, as far as my research told me, that would be the best option. Anyway, that is what I have, and hopefully with those upgrades we can actually see some of the performance improvements, especially when I go back to update 30 stuff on Luin, but also the stuff you all don't see with like editing, even thumbnails a little bit. I noticed some stuff with the thumbnails seemed quicker, perhaps could just be placebo effect type thing maybe, that it just felt faster because I had new hardware. And then, yeah. But as far as a recap for today, again, I appreciate everybody's... Ooh, virtue cap. That is not good. We have honor. Oh, ooh. That is bad. I wasted so much virtue XP on those useless-ish. Yeah, pretty much useless for this character. Yeah, most useless virtues for what I assume this character. I don't know exactly how things will play out as I level up. But I think fidelity. The build I'm thinking about is right now loyalty, wit, valor, honor, and fidelity as my virtues. Wit being a really nice one for the finesse, valor being the most efficient and damage boosting one. Loyalty, not at this level, but at higher levels, I don't know exactly when it switches over. That'll actually be an interesting thing to test, but the most efficient morale and just defensive survivability boosting virtue. But I will say honor at this level is technically better than loyalty. It just switches over. The scaling in LOTRO is so weird where at higher level loyalty gives more morale than honor. And the same can almost be said for fidelity. The amount of vitality it gives at higher levels is close to giving the same morale as something like honor. This being maxed out, I think they're like 75 virtue levels now or something like that. So the scaling on the morale boosting ones aren't all that great, but I think at this point it's a good virtue to get up in. Fidelity, the tactical mitigation could be okay. I know the flame strike effect from the Eye of Sauron does tactical fire damage. And then it does give the vitality and a little bit of physical mitigation, but I don't know if that will come into play at all. But yeah, that's the reasoning I'm going with those virtues, which is a total sidetrack from what we're supposed to be going on about, which is me wrapping up the stream. So got all these quests, I'm ready for some more deadly brigands. And that is where we will pick up. Again, thank you everybody for your patience during today's streams. Today's stream, only did one stream today, during today's stream attempts, while I was having some issues with blue screens of death. Again, I do want to give, while we're just sitting here doing nothing in the game, let's take a final look at my setup, which I have not completely finalized, but this is just what it looks like now. I think I actually had a cat eating food. I thought I heard them crunching. I don't know if it was visible. Maybe I need to adjust the camera so it goes that way slightly more. But anyway, I'm going to try to add some stuff to the background and the such and not have it quite as plain looking, but that is what it's like, and I just basically flipped my desk. So hopefully you all enjoy that. I know the Middle Earth map, which was quite popular, is gone now, but that is how it is with this, and I so far like it. It feels a lot more open, which was the point of it. I also do have a cat right here, which is slightly out of frame, I think. This is not the usual one. I don't know if the tail is visible there. Anyway, a good point for me to wrap up the stream, I think. And hopefully I will have a stream tomorrow and have no issues. So, yeah, otherwise, I don't even know about the rest of this week. Perhaps Monday I could do some Arkenstone stuff, but I have not thought that far ahead. I know I'll have a busy couple weeks coming up, and probably won't be able to do much stuff in 2 weeks from now. So that is something to look out for. Otherwise, as far as this stream goes, again, thank you all for your patience and the such, and everybody who has chipped in with helpful advice, especially I know Shiniro has been here for quite a while. There were a lot of other people earlier. Unfortunately, I don't remember them all. We had quite a few people, but Yeah, thank you everybody for your patience and the assistance there. I guess that is one nice thing of streaming and crashing during streams, but otherwise, as far as the stream itself goes, I hope you all did enjoy it and enjoyed the content. I had fun getting back to Treebeard, and it's made me excited. I just want to get back to this tomorrow, so that is an exciting outlook. But if you did enjoy, please consider liking and subscribing for more, or becoming a channel member to support the content, such as the hardware upgrades, and my cat is basically stalking my mouse right now. Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone.